All right, what's up guys? We are on to the final video of the series. If you're just getting to this one, go back, check out parts 1 through 3 where we tear down the Sportster. We cut it, hardtail the frame, and now we're just gonna jump in and get final assembly going and get this thing fired back up. This front end colossal mess. We're gonna take our bars back off here with our top triple tree. Kind of fold it ahead. All right. Okay, leave it right there. A lot of grease in there. Alright, so we got the stem bolt tight on there. Once this kind of gets back up with the rear wheel on, you'll want to tighten that to feel. You don't want that super tight because it'll pinch everything down and you won't have proper rotation. But for now, we got that pretty well ran home. And then we'll just go ahead and tighten these torques up so everything's in place. And then you'll want to go back and readjust. Make sure that's all got proper movement. After you get it on the ground, you can kind of get your front end up then. But for now, this will do. Okay, now we're going to throw the rear wheel on. We are going to go with a belt setup on this. So we sell an extended length belt that will fit this, so you don't have to worry about switching over to a chain if you don't want. Save you some hassle there. And like we said earlier in the video, we're going to use these spacers that came out of the swing arm. We're going to cut the little bolt section off here, and we're going to use these on the outside. That's what the spacers are going to push against, and that allows you to use your stock axle. Now again, like I said, some guys, they don't want to do that. They'd rather just have this axle adjuster push against the head and the nut. That's fine. If you want to skinny it up, then you're just going to need to buy a custom length axle that's about 1.5 inches shorter than the stock one. So those are readily available. All right, so we're gonna feed the belt in here, down through your axle, get her up over in there. Okay, and we'll put our belt in, and again, so we trimmed our axle adjusters from inside the swing arm. We're gonna use those. Take our axle, that'll go on first. Got big spacer on this side. Put that in there.
Oh, too far. Oh jeez, oh jeez.
Too far there, big guy.
All right, little spacer on this side.
This is brake.
And our brake.
And we're bringing over our brake assembly here. So I'm gonna kind of tuck that in through there. Wind that. And hold those out there. We'll over the rotor. There we go. Perfect. Do you not need that one?
No, that's spare parts.
That's spare parts. Of course, remember, we will get that tightened up and put our cotter pin through there before we head on down the road. So, all right, we got that in. We got our brake caliper. Now, when you get the kit, you're gonna get this hardware pack. This is kind of the specialty hardware pack. A point of note, a lot of the different bolts that we would be needed to put it together. So, oil tank bolts, and nuts, sissy bar, what else? Yeah, most of the oil tank mounting, fender mounting, stuff like that. We don't include that. Reason being is, we don't know what kind of finish you're going for with your bike. So a lot of guys end up just throwing that stuff out because maybe they're buying all chrome hardware or they want all stainless. Some guys don't care and they're just going zinc plated. So just leave that up to you. None of it's anything crazy. These are just going to be nut and bolts. On the oil tanks, they're just 5/16 coarse threads that thread into these blind bungs here. These are going to be your NPT fittings on the oil tank. You'll have to provide those again, because depending on your oil tank routing, you may want a 90, you may want chrome, you may want brass. So we leave that stuff up to you guys to buy. But what does come with it, it's going to be this hardware pack. This is going to have a tie down for the battery mount, which is here. It's got some spacers for the fender, which are going to get you centered up really great. It's got the axle adjusters that'll go here, and then this guy right here is our brake stay for that and hardware for that. So we're gonna bust this thing open. There we go, thank you Seth with the assist. And this is our brake stay. So that's gonna go on there, and it's gonna slide into this slot, and that's what's gonna keep your brake right there. So that's gonna fit in there. These are all tapped. All right, so here are your axle adjusters. Get these in. If you already have your brake caliper on, you can either put them on before you put your wheel on, which is a good plan. Otherwise, if you have this, you gotta kind of shimmy the wheel over to get some spacing around the caliper. And while Seth's putting that in, here is our brake stay tab. So this little piece comes in the hardware pack. We're gonna slide that caliper up, put that in the slot there, and then it comes down. Now you kind of have adjustment there for the wheel to go back and forth. So we'll get it in there kind of finger tight once we find our wheels home for the time being. Then we'll tighten all this stuff down. All right, at this point, we are gonna tackle the Fender sissy bar seat type of deal. So a couple ways that a guy can get after this. Main thing is if you have the king and queen seat, if you got that with your kit, this is just the bare pan, but they come with the full upholstered, or you can buy it with the fully upholstered seat, or you can buy just the pan. But if you get this, this is gonna dictate your angle of your sissy bar. So you kind of want to bolt all of it together and then start marking holes. You know, a little assembly required on this. You are going to kind of have to trim your fender to how you like it. We just ship you the raw fender. You're going to trim it up how you want it to be. As far as setting your spacing off your tire, that is going to be kind of dictated by your sissy bar. There's a little wiggle room there. So first thing we're going to do is bolt on the sissy bar. A couple points on this. This is offset. That's offset intentionally. Reason being is the seat butts up to here, and then that gives you some room to get in and get your nuts, and they're not buried by the seat once you put that on, because your fender will go over top. These are threaded, so they have two nuts that go down, or two bolts rather, that go down through, and so it's intentionally offset so that you can access that without having to remove your seat and all that stuff. So we'll get this on here.
Seat mount.
Yep. Your axle plates are tapped. It is 3/8 hardware. We're just fitting this guy together with nothing fancy here. And obviously this guy's gonna come back apart for paint and all that stuff. So you can switch out to the fancy hardware and all the washers and nuts and lock washers that you need then for fit up and fab gear. That'll do. So then what we're gonna do is we got our 5-inch flat fender. Again, that's what the kit comes with. Hey, if you want to run with a rib fender or wasp style fender, that's on you. But the full kit, if you go that way, is designed and comes with a flat fender, but easy to interchange and switch out with something else. So that fit over. One other point, these style fenders, they have this flat end. It works best if you put that out towards the back and then trim it off. Go, get her in there, and then so you're gonna have the deluxe kit comes with one with the two fender mounting locations already welded on. They have 3/8 holes in it. We also include some spacer stock. Probably we'll have to trim this down. Everything kind of fits just a little bit differently. but it's a great start. So what we'll do, we're gonna get this on, we're gonna measure up, we're gonna kind of line the bottom of our fender here with the bottom rail. Obviously you don't really want that hanging down, that's just something to catch. So as long as you get it down right there. So if you can see kind of from the bottom of the rail to that hole is maybe 1.5 inches, an inch. We'll probably come up about 1 inch. We'll measure over center, we'll put our first hole there. We'll get that in. Then we're gonna put our seat on. You'll see that it just finds home once we get this fender up and mounted. And then this bolt right here, now if you have the fully upholstered seat, is gonna be a blind bolt because it'll be upholstered, comes in from the back, and you have your hole here. So you're gonna put your bolt through there, pinch that in, and then that kind of sets everything. So that's gonna set your sissy bar angle so that that's you know, running nicely with the back of your king and queen seat. And then that's gonna dictate kind of the angle of your fender right there. So you wanna get that up, boom. Now, this kind of technique is all specific with if you're running a king and queen. If you're doing your own seat, maybe you're running one of our Cobra ones, or you got the short sissy bar, hey, wherever you set that angle, that's up to you. You can do, you know, whatever flavor you desire there. So we'll drill these holes and get this bolted up. You're gonna have 2 holes there, use the spacers, and then on the back of the sissy bar, on the brace here, there's 2 holes, and those are threaded on here. So we'll drill those down and thread bolts down through there. So we marked our 2 locations just roughly on there, but we measured the width of the fender. It actually comes out at 5 1/4. So we are gonna come over center. Just got our square there, and we'll be in line. We'll find our point right there.
All right, so while Zach's punching some holes in the fender, getting it ready to mount, we're gonna run some oil lines, talk oil tank real quick. Bottom of the oil tank here, these 2 blind bungs are our mounting points. This one far back at the lowest point is your feed hose. Front here is your vent. This guy is your return. So we got just some 90-degree fittings are what we're gonna use here. Just some brass guys. You can get chrome, get crazy, whatever you want. We do have these on the website. They're all 1/4 inch MPT. Snug all these up when we get ready for final install here. But this guy, just gonna feed right through there like yay. We're gonna throw our bolts nuts there, and then the 2 bolts up the bottom for our blind bolts. All right, so again, we got our vent here. That's your little guy. So we're gonna be able to sneak that right on there. We got return here. Gonna be able to sneak that right on there. So no need to, these are the factory hoses, no need to cut, reroute, change. We'll leave them all tied up right the way they are. Plug them in there. The one that we are gonna have to do a little work on is our feed tube right here. So if you remember, this is the one that tied in to our drain earlier. We cut all that out. So what we're gonna do now, cut this clamp on, throw a new chunk of hose on there, run it back up to our feed line. Use this cloth covered oil line here, again available on the website. How you want to run this is up to you, but I think we're going to try her back through this way. Put our hose on there, got a little clamp here.
All right, so we got our fender mounted up here, drilled our hole there, measured, drilled our 2 back here, threaded it down in. Like we said, easiest thing, hit that first hole, and then we did have to trim up this spacer a little bit. So as you can see, the seat pan matches that. Sits up back there, everything's straight. If you're not gonna run the king and queen seat, you can mount the angle of your sissy bar however you like. So now that we get that on, we're gonna jump on, get the oil tank mounted in, run the oil lines, and then see what we can do with this stock wiring harness, get this baby fired up.
All right, so Zach got our Fender sissy bar situation all squared away here. We're gonna bounce back to the oil tank. We got just our 2 nuts and bolts up here, securing that guy, and then way down under here into our blind bungs are our 2 bolts going up through the bottom. Through some Teflon, got our oil fittings on, so we're gonna plumb in the rest of the oil tank and then move on to some electrical. So one more time, this is our vent hose here. It's a little in diameter. We are going to hook that onto our front hose or front barb there. It's a little long, so we're gonna trim a little off for there. Get that guy on there. This one here, a little long. You probably don't need to cut them, they'll go, but might as well. All right, stick those on. Start here. All right, now we're gonna bounce to the other side. So here is this electrical out of the way there. Here is our line for our main feed line. This is the one we had to add on the other side there. The other 2 we were able to utilize. So we're just gonna kind of make a pretty little guesstimation here. Something right in there. Put that one on. And on this oil tank, just a little side note, there's not a specific drain plug. When you drain your oil, you're gonna drain it through your main feed hose right here. Now we're gonna move on to some wiring stuff. So nothing here is attached to anything. It's all kind of hanging. Got her laid out across the backbone. What I did before I put the oil tank in, we ran the harness through there and then out the bottom there. Obviously, if you're eliminating all this, getting rid of a bunch of your electrical, you won't have this gigantic harness, but for the sake of this video, we wanted to try to keep as much as we could. So that is all there. All right, so now we're just going to hook up our wiring. What I'm gonna do, we didn't disconnect anything from our gauges, from our lights, any of that stuff. Sans the blinkers, we're getting rid of all that, so we don't care about that. We're gonna start at this end and kind of work our way south. So, get our coil back in position here. Stick our tank bolt through here just to hold it where she lives till we get our tank on. So coil here, got our front plug wire, rear plug wire, we're gonna snake through here. Got our 2 coil wires. Marked this one when I took it off so I knew which coil wire went to where. Alright, so we got these 2 guys here. White's on the right, pink is on the left. Got those guys connected up. Following down here, we got our speed sensor, which is a 3-pin connector here. I'm gonna feed this guy up through the bottom of the oil tank is where it's gonna live. And the other end here, sneak in and connect it. So that is connected, and that's where she's gonna live for now. So moving on here to the rest of this, one thing I would like to mention and point out, in the real world, you're way better off. There's so many extra things on here. Look at the size of that. You don't need 90% of this stuff to run. We still got blinker wires in here. We got all sorts of horn wires. If you're getting rid of that stuff, you're cleaning this up, you can cut down a lot of this. We are doing this simply for the sake of this video, just making it real quick, dirty, getting it on there and making it go. But there's much cleaner, better ways to do it. This is just quick and dirty. So following down here is our bank sensor. We'll find a home for that. This is your ignition module, your circuit breaker, relay, things of that nature. This is a perfect example of what a guy can eliminate. Dynatech sells a electronic ignition. It all fits under your little points cover there, gets rid of this whole glob of shit. For the sake of this, we're just gonna get nasty zip tire right there, but that's kind of a temporary make it go thing if you're trying to do her on the quick and dirty on a weekend. So now we got our pile full of grounds here. These two here are a brake light switch. This is our main power to our starter, from our starter rather, our starter igniter. So we're gonna get all these kind of wrapped down through there into some homes and get them connected. We got got that loom kind of ran through. We got our two grounds on our stud there. We're gonna get those tightened up. We got these two gentlemen right here, which are little push-on spade connectors. Gonna go to our brake light switch right there. And then we're gonna bounce over to the other side and wrap up the rest over there. Back on the right side of the bike here, we got our starter igniter wire. Plug that guy in. Way back over here is our main power to our fuses. Get that on our starter terminal. I'm not going to put a nut on that yet because our battery cable is going to go over it up to our battery box. Coming down here. So here's our harness that we fed in from the left side of the bike. With that, this little fella here to our crank position sensor. The other half goes up right in there. We're gonna plug that in. We're gonna come back and zip tie all this stuff up so it doesn't rub on frames and do terrible things. Run this right up along the outside of the frame. Also catching our stator wires. Pull those through there. So here we left this on the bike, our regulator rectifier. I'm gonna bring these guys down. So what we got is our 2-pin connector and a single pin connector. So here's our single pin connector. Plug that guy in. Here is our 2-pin from our stator. We are going to plug that in. Up here, since we did keep our the stock dash, it will leave at some point, but it's here right now. So this is our oil pressure sensor wire. The oil pressure sensor is right here underneath the oil filter, buried inside there. That just pushes on the stud on the end of that. Lastly, this little fella right here. Again, buried deep up inside here. Right here, this stud is our neutral light.
Throw our pulley cover back on. Gonna slip her in there. Getting on our lip. There we go. Just gotta get enough. There we go. This needs to get in right there. Come around, so you still got the hard line going up, tucks through there. Brought it around like normal. Now, you know, I think a guy could actually make this work permanently if you really didn't want to deal with bleeding your brakes and running new lines. Here's your brake light switch, and it has this little kind of integrated bracket on there. So if you fabbed a mount off of your frame back here, I could see you really mounting that right there. And the brake line's a little shorter than you probably want to, but you can maybe bend that down and bring it down a little bit. I'm sure there's enough flexibility to bend that line, or I mean, say if a guy wanted to mount that off his fender, you know, listen, we've seen a lot worse out there. So, but for this quick situation, like I said, we're kind of pretending this is a weekend to get your bike switched over and running without any downtime. So that will work.
All right, so now we're gonna reinstall our carburetor, air filter. From there, get the tank back on, battery set up, and see if we can breathe some life into her. So normally, this would be a great time to rebuild your carburetor since it's off, but we're going quick and dirty here, so we're just gonna slam her back on. Intake gasket there. Cut our old fuel line, so we're gonna throw a new fuel line on there. Alright, let that hang there for a second while we get our cables down. Alright, so now we're going to hook up our throttle and idle cable. The front one is your pull or your throttle cable. The rear one is your push or your idle cable. So we're going to take our throttle cable first, which is the one that opens our throttle. So that one is going to go in the front here. Gonna go in the back. That guy in. That one in the holder. Put this one in there. Now we're good to install the carburetor. We'll adjust those cables here in a minute. So again, our vacuum line we got coming off the Vose. Your main in to your into your manifold vacuum. The longer guy is going to go over to the other side to our fuel petcock. Plug that guy in. Feed through to the other side. And give it a little press into the intake. Alright, got our carburetor installed. Now we're going to throw our air cleaner on. We kind of left things in the order that they go when we took her all apart, which should make it pretty easy to go back on. Take our breather rubbers off. Alright, now we just gotta adjust our idle and throttle cables, and we'll be over to the other side to hook up our fuel and petcock vacuum line.
Alright, we're gonna throw the tank back on here. Again, we're using the stock tank today. If you decided you did want to run this, you're gonna have to re-drill the back mount holes through your frame. Best to weld in a sleeve through there instead of just drill a hole, but I know you probably won't do that. So we're gonna throw it on. You know, this whole build, we're gonna end up tearing it down. We'll do another video for you guys where we're really gonna, you know, rewire it. We're gonna really give it the full custom treatment, put a nice tank on it, all that stuff. So But today we're gonna throw this on here. Frankly, we're probably just gonna throw a zip timer on the back because we don't wanna drill that and have to weld it back up. But you can, we're dropping stuff. You can do as you like, but you'll see once you throw it on, the back is kind of gonna sit up on it, and and it's not really gonna sit down super nice against the lines of the frame. So that right there is kind of where it wants to sit, and this is what I'm talking about. If you have the bigger style Sportster tank, you can see you kind of got this big thing, looks like it just hanging out there. Not a real cool look, so. But hey, like I said, chopper in a weekend, chopper in a day, it works, so. All right, so finished it, button up a few little things since we last left you. We threw the stock exhaust on. You know, it will work. If you look down here, the last hanger on the muffler's right here. If a guy welds a tab or uses a P-clamp, you can use your stock exhaust, no problem. Obviously, most guys are gonna do a custom exhaust when they're building a chopper. We got our tank on there. We threw a seat on, this beautiful Don Johnson white seat right here. Frankly, it was kind of the only one we had in the shop today. So you can already see our dirty mitts got it a little dirtied up, but this is the king and queen seat. You know, the standard is a black. We have it available in a diamond pattern like this one, or the pleated. It's got a tab that slides in there. That's what holds it. You got a nut back here, designed specifically for this hardtail. It's gonna have a fully upholstered back piece on it, less the fingerprints. The other option would be the Cobra seat. Here's kind of our standard black. This is the pleated version. King and queen comes in the pleated version as well. That same thing you can see on the bottom. It's all felted. This is the tab that's gonna slide up in that open end on the back bone, and then the Cobra will just have a mount in the back, so you would drill another hole in your fender, put a nut and bolt through that. So those are kind of the seat options. Soon, maybe by the time you're watching the video, we'll have a solo one, which is basically just this truncated right here, just a little solo deal. So Seth and I got so darn excited to build this chopper in one day. Our kit is designed to run with the 12-volt anti-gravity battery. It fits really nicely into the oil tank. 12 cell, not 12, it is a 12 volt, but it's 12 volts and 12 cells. But it fits down in there. It comes with a hold down. It comes with the hold down. I don't know where it is. We have it, but it comes with that. It fits in there. It's got enough cranking amps to turn over a 1200 Sportster. There we are. This kind of latches up in there, and the bolt goes down, and that holds your battery in place. So we recommend use the 12 cell anti-gravity battery. Another option, a guy could fashion something down here. That being said, we are knuckleheads, and we didn't get our battery in time. We didn't have one, you know, COVID, everything's kind of running a little crazy with shipping times and supplying and all that stuff. Didn't have one in our shelf today, and didn't order one in time. So, if you come around here, we want to fire this bad boy up, show you that, hey, in one day we got it running. We had to kind of jerry-rig another battery. It's sitting there, but we're going to pop it off. I mean, I think we did it, Seth.
We'll see.
What time do you have?
We have 8:12, so we are 12 hours into this.
12 hours. Started right about 8 o'clock today. Of course, we had some filming shenanigans, maybe a couple redos on some shots.
Some lunch.
Ate some lunch, drank some hams. But this is all to show you guys you can do this. It's not that hard. It really isn't. We wanted to put this super in-depth video series together so you guys can see that anybody at home can do this. We weren't using crazy tools. You know, maybe the welding and the fabrication, you outsource to somebody, so maybe it won't happen in a weekend. But if you're set up that you can do that, you really can get this done quickly. Again, we will go back, we're gonna clean all this up, we're gonna rewire this with all the simple stuff on there, get rid of all the shenanigans that Harley has in there. We'll get, obviously, the correct battery in there. We'll probably rerun the brake line. We're gonna redo this whole handlebar setup, put something cooler on there, put one of our Throttle Addiction tanks on here. and then obviously tear it all down for paint. So we'll do another update for you guys, show you how she finally finishes out and what you can build with the Throttle Addiction Hardtail Kit. But with that, I don't know, Seth, should we see if we did it?
Yeah, we did.
See if we did her, man. I'm gonna make sure I didn't even wire this in here. We got this kind of just jammed in there. I'll hold it, I'll hold the clutch. You fire, see if...
We got power.
We got power, that is good. That is step one. All right, hit the button. Look at that, look at that. 12 hours, folks, 12 hours. All right, man, we did it.
We did it.
Cheers.
Cheers.
All right, so just to recap, Throttle Addiction Sportster Hardtail Kit. Gonna fit late 80s to 2003, your pre-rubber mount Sportsters. So just so everyone knows, when you buy the kit, you get the frame, you get the oil tank, fender, you're gonna get the sissy bar. You can choose if you want the seat or not. You can choose your seat. You're gonna get some of the hardware included, the battery hold down, all that stuff, a set of instructions. You got this sweet video series, you know how to do it. Other than that, I mean, we bought the extended belt. What else do we have?
A battery.
Yeah, you're gonna need a battery.
And some nuts and bolts.
And the rest, we used what was already on this 2001 Sportster, everything that was on there. So a little bit of extra care, you know, some cleaner wiring, and you got a pretty badass chopper that you can build in your garage. Cost-wise, you know, right now things change, but right now the full kit with the seat shipped to you is gonna run about $1,700. You know, if you were starting out without a Sportster, we bought this Sportster, it's got 7,000 miles. This was not a friend or family deal. We bought it for 2,300 bucks.
23.
So they're out there, you know, and so for under $4,000, you got an awesome custom bike that you can rip around. Sportsters are bulletproof. People who have it, they all know that. And you can just really dive in as much as you want on how custom you want to make these things, how much you really want to pretty it up. But the Hardtail Kit is a great start. We make these 100% in our facility here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We bend these tubes, we coat these tubes. You know, the fender is US made, we don't make that, but we bend the sissy bars, bend all the tubes, we plasma cut all the oil tanks, bend that, weld them up right here. So you're getting a top quality product. You're supporting guys who love motorcycles. And we really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. We hope that it gets you inspired and maybe you think you can tackle a project like that. So if that's in your future, throttleaddiction.com. We're here for all your chopper needs. Thousands of parts up this alley of motorcycles, and we're here. Call us 5 days a week, 9 to 5. We'll answer the phone out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. I don't know, that's about it, man. Cheers.
Wrap her up.
All right, thanks guys. It was made for you and, well, you are Don Johnson today.
Correct.
With that. Yeah,
Correct.
You look good.
I mean, you want to double up? Yeah, we don't have any passenger pay.